Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and today we are unlocking the secret to true English fluency. You know that feeling when you're playing a fast paced video game online and like your connection is just slightly off?
Oh, yeah. I'm your resident expert, and I can tell you that awful lag is incredibly frustrating.
Great. So you know the exact move you want to make. You press the button, but there's this split-second processing delay. And because of that lag, you just miss the moment entirely.
Yeah, that latency is actually the perfect analogy for what happens neurologically when you try to speak a second language, but you're still translating from your first.
Which is exactly what we're looking at today. For this deep dive, we're pulling from a really fascinating stack of linguistic research papers, some cognitive load studies, and a targeted fluency guide.
Our mission is to figure out how to eliminate that mental lag, like how to train the brain to bypass the translation filter entirely.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Because we all know that translating word for word actively slows the brain down. It creates this unnatural hesitation. But what is actually happening to cause that delay?
Well, what's happening under the hood is that you're forcing your brain to route every single concept through your native language's semantic network first. You're essentially running two operating systems at once.
Oh, wow. That sounds exhausting.
It is. The brain has to retrieve the native word, find the English equivalent, apply all the grammatical rules, and then finally output the speech. It causes massive cognitive friction. True fluency means building a new, direct neural pathway so you aren't reliant on that native language filter.
But I mean, realistically, if I've been running my original operating system my whole life, how do I just bypass it? I have to push back a little on the idea that someone can just decide to, like, flip a switch and run their internal monologue in a new language.
It's definitely not like flipping a switch.
Right, because if I try to process my thoughts in a second language right now, my brain would fry within 5 minutes. The cognitive burnout would be immediate.
Oh, absolutely. It would absolutely cause burnout if you tried to process complex, abstract ideas right out of the gate. Working memory has very strict limits.
So, how do we actually rewire that internal monologue without burning out?
To avoid overwhelming it, the cognitive strategy from the source material is to start incredibly small with low-stakes internal narration. We aren't talking about drafting a philosophical essay in your head.
So, we're talking about the absolute mundane basics narrating, making coffee, or, walking out the door.
Yes, the focus is purely on your immediate environment. When you're standing in the kitchen, you internally narrate, "I'm cooking dinner," or "I need water."
Just really simple daily thoughts.
Exactly. By keeping the vocabulary basic, you prevent cognitive overload. More importantly, you're building a direct neural link between the physical action and the English concept. You're training your brain to map reality directly to the target language.
Totally cutting out the native language middleman.
Right.
Okay, so once that internal narration becomes a habit, applying it to actual real-time conversation is the next hurdle. And that requires fundamentally changing what we memorize.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people freeze up.
It reminds me of, well, think about building a car. Memorizing isolated vocabulary words and trying to build a sentence on the fly is like buying random car parts and just hoping they fit together.
Which is incredibly taxing.
Yep.
It's going to cause that buffering effect we talked about.
Exactly. But learning full phrases is like getting a pre-assembled car that's just ready to drive.
That is a brilliant way to visualize it. In linguistics, this mechanism is known as lexical chunking. It means storing and retrieving full, pre-assembled phrases rather than isolated words.
So learning phrases like, "How is it going?" rather than just the word how. Here's where it gets really interesting to me. When we learn a full phrase, we aren't just memorizing more words, right?
Yeah.
We're storing that information differently.
Precisely. The brain stores these chunks as single semantic units. Human working memory can only hold about 4 to 7 items at once.
Which isn't a lot.
No, not at all. If you build a sentence word by word, you max out that capacity instantly. But when you deploy a pre-built chunk, your brain retrieves it as one single item. It completely bypasses the brain's grammar conjugation algorithms.
So you aren't desperately searching for the right verb tense while the other person waits.
Right, you just hit play on the pre-rendered file.
Which naturally eliminates the hesitation and the fear of making a grammatical mistake. You just speak freely because the grammar is already baked right into the chunk.
Exactly. The source stresses that fluency grows from this low-friction processing, not from perfect grammatical assembly on the fly. When you reduce the cognitive load by relying on chunks, your processing speed increases.
And communication naturally becomes smoother. So What does this all mean for you, the listener? It means true fluency isn't about having a massive dictionary in your head. It naturally emerges when you drop the translation step, practice daily, and trust the process.
And to put this into practice, there is a specific, actionable challenge drawn from the research. For the next 10 minutes, try thinking only in English.
Just 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes. Internally describe your immediate surroundings and daily activities, keeping the cognitive load light and natural.
10 minutes. No lag, no buffering, just a direct connection. I love that. But before we wrap up, I'll leave you with something to ponder as you take on this challenge.
Let's hear it.
If our internal monologue fundamentally shapes our reality, how might narrating your everyday routine chores in an entirely different language temporarily alter how you actually perceive your immediate surroundings? Give it a try and see what happens to that lag.